Some nights feel normal, until they take a terrifying turn. Tonight, I'll tell you a story that happened in 1981 in a quiet neighborhood in Illinois. A story so chilling, it became a cautionary tale for babysitters everywhere. Imagine being responsible for 2 children, alone in a house, when the phone rings. Repeatedly. And when you pick up, the voice on the other end asks a question that will haunt you forever. Have you checked the children? This isn't fiction. This is what really happened. The babysitter, a teenage girl named Jill, had been working at this house for months. The family was friendly, the neighborhood quiet, and she felt safe. At least at first. The house itself had a history. Built in the 1950s, it had seen many families, each leaving traces in its walls, scratches, creaking floors, and faint whispers of memories long past. At night, shadows danced oddly across the living room, and the house had an uncanny way of making small noises sound enormous. On this particular Friday evening, Jill arrived around 6 p.m. The parents left with a warning. Lock the doors, check the kids, and call us if anything seems strange. Jill didn't think twice until the clock struck 9. At 9:30 p.m., the phone rang. A strange number. She picked up. "Hello," she said nervously. "Have you checked the children?" came a whisper, barely audible, but unmistakable. Jill laughed it off, assuming it was a prank. But the phone rang again 5 minutes later. And again. The caller never said anything else, just that same chilling question. Her heart raced. She tried to ignore it, but every ring made her pulse quicken. What kind of person would call repeatedly, asking such a question? As the night went on, the calls became more frequent and more menacing. The voice on the phone began to taunt her. Sometimes it was barely a whisper, other times it was louder, echoing through the room. Jill tried to distract herself by checking on the children, but every time she returned to the living room, the phone rang again. Her fear grew. She considered calling the police, but the thought of the caller being inside the house sent shivers down her spine. She paced the floor, trying to think. Was the caller outside? Was someone in the house? She didn't know. And she couldn't stop hearing that question. Have you checked the children? Finally, at midnight, Jill called the police. They promised to trace the call. Minutes felt like hours as she sat in terror, clutching the phone, listening for the next ring. Then, the call came again. But this time, the voice was calmer, almost whispering directly into her ear. "I'm right here." The police arrived within minutes and began searching the house, and that's when they discovered the unimaginable. The calls weren't coming from outside, they were coming from inside the house. Somewhere in the basement, hidden in the shadows, a man had been watching. Waiting. Jill's bravery saved her and the children. She screamed, alerted the police, and the intruder fled before they could apprehend him. The house was searched thoroughly, but the man was gone. The parents arrived pale and shaken, realizing how close they had come to disaster. Jill never babysat there again, and the story spread across the neighborhood as a warning. To this day, the house stands, and locals claim that if you walk by at night, you can still hear a faint phone ringing. The police never caught the intruder. Was it a disturbed local? A stranger with malicious intent? We may never know. What we do know is this. Sometimes, danger hides in the most familiar places. And sometimes, The scariest moments come when you think you're safe at home. So, the next time your phone rings late at night, ask yourself, who's really on the other end? If you enjoyed this story, or dare to hear more, subscribe for weekly real-life horror stories, and comment below if you've ever had a terrifying experience like Jill's.